Requiring people to pay more to play this game when other platforms do not is ridiculous. Shame on Microsoft and shame on Xbox for this. Hi friends! I'm Pisces Moon Pie. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. I stream Final Fantasy, among other things, on Twitch. This is actually a review for the Xbox version of Final Fantasy XIV. I started playing Final Fantasy XIV with the Xbox beta at the beginning of this year, so the beginning of March, and I could never get into the game before. I had tried and I just didn't really vibe with it. I think it was mostly like the keyboard and mouse I didn't really function with well, but I really enjoyed the game so far, but I just got the PC version of the game because of my experiences with the Xbox version. So let's get into it. Let's start off with some positive. Let's start off with a positive note. So the controller version of the game, it's very easy to learn. It's very easy to use. The cross hotbar I absolutely love. You get kind of muscle memory going. You can have the W crossbar instead. It's super customizable and awesome. Very easy to walk, very easy to jump. Leap of faith. I'm obsessed with the jump puzzles. Something about the controller just makes them a lot easier than keyboard and mouse. The menus on the Xbox version are very well visualized. So when you're new and you're navigating them, it's less confusing to find things that you need. And menus in Final Fantasy XIV are extensive. So that's a very important thing when you're new, particularly. I loved the fact that I could play on the Xbox while streaming because this is a resource heavy game, and being a streamer and streaming to both Twitch and TikTok, OBS and TikTok Live Studio are going to be using a ton of resources along with all the other things that a streamer might have. So I actually didn't even play with a capture card because on Windows, there is an Xbox app where you can cast your Xbox gameplay to your PC. So I could capture it that way. And the input lag, it was not noticeable. So that worked out really well. Being able to play on the Xbox, my husband plays Final Fantasy XIV as well. So when he's home, we can play together because he can be on the PC and I can be on the Xbox, and it's not a big deal. And he can actually kind of look over at the screen and see what the heck or at the TV and see what I'm doing if I need help or if we need to meet up or something. Now let's get into the negatives. A lot of the actions are extremely clunky. So if you want to emote anyone, it's more of a pain to just type that out in chat. So navigating, like targeting a person, doing that menu for it, and then selecting emote, and then you have to scroll through all of your emotes to find the one that you want. A little awkward. Especially if you have to do a quest that involves emoting NPCs, that can get to be quite a bit. Speaking of clunky, customizing the HUD is kind of a nightmare. On the PC version, it's very easy to just drag and drop everything and move stuff how you want it, expand and whatnot. But on the Xbox, that's so much more complicated because you have to slowly move everything with the right analog stick. Also, targeting is not intuitive either. So it took me forever to figure out that The left and right directional buttons were for targeting enemies, but this is only in combat. For targeting enemies, and then up and down are for targeting your party members. And then even targeting NPCs or other player characters, if I want to scroll through people who I see, it gets really confusing because I can't just target who I want. And the way that the targeting is auto set up in the game, it will not necessarily target the closest person on the defaults. It might target somebody far away, and then you have to sit there scrolling through all the people in Limsa just so you can find your friend to invite them to your party. Now, all of these issues can be easily resolved by attaching a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse to your Xbox, which is super possible. There's a lot of USB ports that will take a dongle. I did that. It worked really well, but a lot of that kind of defeats the purpose for me of playing on the Xbox anyway, because then I have to have like a keyboard and a mouse in my lap along with the controller. I personally don't think that I don't find playing with keyboard and mouse is comfortable for myself because I get pinched nerves in my hands and my hands go numb. So playing like that for a long time or an extended amount of time is extremely uncomfortable. And I find the controller a lot easier to use. And it is really awkward kind of switching back and forth from your keyboard to your controller. When I was using the Xbox app, I had to have my controller Bluetooth connected to my PC, but my PC keyboard and mouse would not automatically connect to the Xbox app. I had to connect another keyboard to the Xbox, and that would work when I wanted to type. So it was super awkward. So I had a keyboard on my desk, a keyboard in my lap, and then the controller in my hand, just so I could try to chat with people who were in duty roulette and just say a few words so we could function properly. That brings me to chat in Xbox version is terrible. So you may have heard about the infamous harvest dance issue, which has since been fixed, but the rest of it hasn't. There is chat filtering that is unable to be turned off because this is being applied by Microsoft and Xbox itself, probably due to their zero tolerance of bullying and their policies to bring the game over. So there is no way to turn this off. Some of the things that it decides are swear words actually make chat completely unreadable. So like if I said finish it, the SH at the end of finish and the IT, the Xbox assumes that I'm trying to say shit. So it censors it. And if there's a lot of instances of that, your chat is going to be completely question marks. So some of the things you'll see on there, you're sitting there having to decode and decipher what the heck your party members are saying. So chat on the Xbox version is practically useless, which is a problem if you're playing with strangers through duty roulette or something and they're trying to tell you things and you're like, I have no idea what you want from me. So if you've been playing Final Fantasy XIV a long time, you've known that you have to set up your chat and set up the chat filters and turn off notifications for certain things so that it's customized. Well, all of those menus being really unintuitive and not obvious how to get to or hard to get to in the first place, make it so that chat is constantly sending you notifications about things that are completely irrelevant. So you don't see important messages from your party members like turn on tank stance. Another thing that is incredibly frustrating about the Xbox version is there are menu options and features that do not exist in the Xbox version. Most importantly for me is the accessibility menu. So the PC version of Final Fantasy XIV has an accessibility menu with features such as a visualizer for players who are deaf, hard of hearing, or have other hearing impairments and may not be able to hear the sounds in the game. So all of those are going to be translated into that visualizer on the side. Anything from background noise to alerts to aggro sounds, everything. Those features absolutely do not exist on the Xbox at all. That menu is not there. So the game on Xbox is less accessible to people with disabilities. I have audio processing issues, and that visualizer, that would have been so nice to have. More frustrating things that are Xbox only. You're probably familiar with Krista. It is a currency you can use to pay for your subscription to the game or pay for optional add-ons or things like that in the Final Fantasy XIV store. Xbox decided to be different, and instead of Krista, they have FFXIV Coin. So this is an Xbox exclusive currency that can only be purchased in the Xbox store. And if you only have the Xbox version of the game applied to you, you cannot purchase Krista. You cannot use Krista. You have to use the Final Fantasy XIV coin. Bruh. So, I don't know why they decided to be different. I don't know why they have to be like that and make things complicated, because then it makes it more complicated to purchase. Because in order for me to pay for my sub or buy anything, I have to go on the Xbox store, purchase my Final Fantasy XIV coin, log on to my game, log into my character so the coin loads to my account, go back to the Final Fantasy XIV store, and then make my purchase. The Final Fantasy XIV coin will not show up on my Mog Station or the 14 store website until I have logged into the game and those coins have loaded into my account. It is such a pain in the butt to do anything, although the complicated nature of it was making me a little more hesitant. The barrier being there made me think about my purchases in the clothing shop rather than just impulse buying everything I see. So maybe that's not all bad. While we're on the topic of payment with the Xbox version, you are required to pay for Xbox Game Pass in order to play Final Fantasy XIV, and that's on top of the subscription fee. And this is particularly terrible because Sony does not require players to pay for a PS Plus in order to play Final Fantasy XIV. So that's completely bogus. So requiring people to pay more to play this game when other platforms do not is ridiculous. Shame on Microsoft and shame on Xbox for this. The Xbox version of the game is not that bad, but Microsoft doing ridiculous anti-consumer shit because they want to be different and they have policies that make it just miserable for gamers, and then they wonder why people don't want to have an Xbox. It's like, this is why you do this to yourself. You make the games so frustrating to play, or to the point where they're unplayable. Moving from the Xbox version to the PC version has been a huge breath of fresh air, because all these little tiny things about the Xbox version have been so incredibly frustrating that they've hindered my ability to enjoy the game fully. And oh my gosh, like, just holding my controller and having my keyboard right here. Yeah, I could have done that on the Xbox, but it was a little bit different. Having it right at my desk, just popping on some some hotkeys. All those built-in hotkeys are actually really nice. I just can't do the WASD. So I will still play the Xbox version because, like I said, my husband plays. So when he's home and wants to play and we want to play together, we have an easy option for that. But I will be mostly moving to the PC version. And if all you have is an Xbox, by all means, if you're already paying for Game Pass, definitely check it out. It is a lot more fun, in my opinion, on controller anyway. There are just things that are going to be a little complicated, and you might want to attach a keyboard and mouse just to make life a little simpler on yourself, and maybe just play with Discord so you don't have to deal with the chat mess. But if you are able to play on PC, I highly recommend getting the PC version instead because no. You will be much happier with the PC version, and it's super easy to connect a controller to that anyway. So if you prefer to play with a controller, if you have an Xbox controller, there are easy ways to just sync that with your computer and play. All right, have you played the console versions of Final Fantasy XIV? What do you prefer? What are some things? What are your experiences? Leave them in the comments down below. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitch. Come say hello on TikTok. Thank you so much for being here and listening to my whole rant.